Okay, so we're gonna do something different today. I want to talk about, readers and how to read things, but I also feel the need to address authors as well on this channel. So, and I think it helps readers understand what an author goes through so that they have simultaneously the understanding of what we're doing, but also, honestly, kind of the respect of, hey, this is a person creating an entire world, and it's hard, and it usually takes a lot of money and effort and years and blood, sweat, and tears to pull it off. So here's what what I do. So my process tends to be I get a scene, I get a character. Sometimes I always have questions, but I'll get like a philosophical question or something, and I'll go, ooh, let's like throw that together. It's gonna be great. And I write the way I read. So I'll play out that scene exactly as I'm seeing it, and then I go, oh, so how would this person who I'm discovering, how would they react based on what I know? How would they react to this conflict? And that's how we come up with conflicts. As I understand, I have an inherent understanding of how the alchemy of character versus conflict works. So I do plot things out. I do come up with, a larger theme or situation that they're dealing with. I have to come up with a world and all that kind of stuff. So I do my due diligence. I have whiteboards and scribbles and notebooks and all kinds of things. But sometimes when I get into the thick of it and I've been there for a little bit, I just need help moving forward. And I felt like this is what I needed to talk about today. Because it's not something I've ever seen done before, and maybe it is, and I just haven't found it, which is really sad. But here we go. So where I am with this novel, I've written 4. I'm pursuing publication with a few of them. I tend to write fantasy, a little bit of thriller. The one that I'm talking about is a series. I'm writing the original trilogy, and I have several spin-off novels that are connected to it. So in this one, I was on the last leg of revision at the end of August, and then I got really, really sick and just could not do anything. So, which was nice because it kind of helped me reconsider how I was going to go with this concept. So the basic idea for my novel or my world is it's based on Hindu philosophy, my understanding of it, where you have these spiritual beings who have to interact with the human world. And if you know anything about Hindu philosophy, you have the spirit who comes through the mirror of Maya and is divided amongst itself, and it has to find itself again. And it's and they don't necessarily, they have just a portion of their being in each of these splinters, basically. So I have these characters who exist outside of time and outside of this world, and they come and they interact with the human world. But again, what happens if these spiritual avatars are here and they don't know who they are or what they can do? But there's something, they meet somebody and they're like, there's something in here. I don't know why you're connected to me, but you are. And so maybe I shouldn't kill you. So we have that, and we flux throughout time and history. So it's kind of time travel-y and a lot of fun. So in the last third of this novel, we have 3 main characters that we're focusing on. We're gonna look at one. His name is Alaric at present. He is the biggest, baddest, most grounded spiritual avatar we have. He has all the power. He is absolutely incredible, but he just lost the person who's most important to him. And he's now on planet Earth. So that's my context. And here is, and I have to have him walk through, okay, he just lost this person, so now where are we going? So presently the novel is he's full of power and he's walking on Earth and he's using his power and he's using his heart and he's just moving forward. And the other person doesn't know who they are and doesn't know who he is, and so they're resisting, and that's your conflict. So that's where I've been, and I was gonna, sit down and start writing again today. But I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do a quick poll and see where we go. So a poll, what am I talking about? When I get into a sticky situation and I want a little bit of direction, or I want to like see the possibility of a story, I use a lot of tools. One of the tools that I use a lot is actually tarot. I personally use Ethereal, a Shadow Tarot by Vixen. It's absolutely exquisite. I love it. The detail is gorgeous. So this is the back of the deck, and it just feels so pretty, and I love the images, and I love the guidebook and everything like that. So before I sat down to write today, I was like, let's just kind of like recenter in my story, because like I said, I've been sick. I know my story, it's never leaving me, it's never gone very long, but I also haven't actually sat down and handled it in a bit. So I did a poll. When I do tarot readings for myself, for my characters, for other people, I do intuitive readings. I don't really do traditional, mostly because, since I was a kid, I kind of had a connection to things, and so I kind of operate with who I am, and I love learning new things and adding to my tool belt, but I also kind of go, I am who I am, so I'm gonna kind of harness what I have. So the main way I do this is I take a deck, and I take one card off the bottom of the deck, and that's my context card is what I call it. And it kind of gives you just an idea of who's involved, the situation that's involved, and kind of where we are. And then I'd pull 3 from the top of the deck, and sometimes it's like past, present, future. Sometimes it's like a conflict and tools that are coming up. Sometimes it's, a warning or a promise, or, something. And then I pull one final card after looking at that, and it can be from anywhere in the deck. And that kind of like, yeah. So depending on the rest of the pool, it has different applications. So the context card was the Mage. Now the Mage is the all-powerful tools manifestations kind of a thing, which is my character. He is the all-powerful person who just has had everything, and he has had success manifesting things, both on planet Earth and elsewhere. He is the most powerful person here. And I love, so we deal with portals and stuff like that, and I love that he has portals around him, and it's just the perfect thing for the images that I see. So then the 3 that I pulled next was the 4 of Wands, the 8 of Swords, and the Hierophant. Ooh, is that out of focus? Can't tell. So the 4 of Wands is community, joy, and all that kind of stuff. And right before, it's divided into parts. So part 2, he winds up kind of in a situation where he has a community suddenly of all of the people who actually understand what he's going through and who he is, and it's a new way for him to engage the world. The 8 of Swords is suddenly being trapped. And in this one, he is sent to Earth against his will. He doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't know how he's there. He's just suddenly there, and he's in a human body, and he hasn't been in a human body since he died originally. The Hierophant is, oh no, I lost the Hierophant. Give me a second. Okay, so that's wisdom, conformity, and tradition. So that one, because these are spiritual avatars who have a story and a presence and a person outside of time or the human experience, Alaric has a very different concept of everything that's here. The barrier between natural and magic, the concept of time, he just sees it differently because he's not from here. Now, one of the guys who's up here, part of Alaric's new community, he is newer, and he's been taken in human form outside. So he's having to learn things now about the human world that he's like going, what? I'm what? I'm who? What's happening? So both of these characters are on either side of the concept of time with this person that they're trying to rescue who doesn't remember anything. And they're having to look at the natural laws of this particular place and the traditions of this place, and they're having to work it. Alaric's from the inside, Oz is from the outside, and they're having to like problem solve this structure. And I had never thought of it in a concept of like traditions and breaking it, the mechanism down into tradition, because I have to define time a lot. But I really liked this one because it's with the Eight of Swords, with Alaric being trapped, and what happens instead of him having like all the power and he could just push through and do his thing, and he's just making Earth bend to him? What if he's powerless, but he knows who he is? And suddenly you have a character who he knows who he is, but he's got an immovable conflict, and he has to basically not just rub up against it, but like slam into it face first and go, oh, this isn't working. And what I love about these two conflicts right here is you've got a complete and utter denial of who he is. So he's trapped. There's nothing he can do about it. He is just there. And then you have this one where you have the traditions and the workings of this place and a different set of rules. So now he's inside here, and since he's trapped, he has to figure out a way to work within the system in order to achieve his ends. And I think that creates a very interesting finish of his arc in this book that I did not think of originally. And I love the idea of having two people and two separate perspectives, one that's usually internal, suddenly outside going, well, how does that work? And you basically have two people who are used to the opposite perspective being swapped, and now they have to work from the other person's location. It's vague, I'm sorry. But I think that's going to be a really interesting character growth for these two people as well. And then finally, my last, I hope this is making sense to you guys. I don't try to explain things like this to people. Here we are. And then my final card was the Queen of Swords. Now, like I said earlier, just a minute ago, Alaric has his heart and his spirit and his soul, and he just pushes through things, and that's how he overcomes his conflicts on this planet. But again, if we have put him in these two places, his heart, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but he has to be a little bit more strategic. He has to be more like her, which is intelligence and gathering all the facts and working strategically an unstoppable, indomitable intellect that just takes in the information and selects the best course and just sees it through, regardless of the heart. So I am so curious about that one, because this person that Alaric is trying to rescue is arguably in some ways his heart. And so what choices are he going to make? Is he going to make that is going to be intellect and is going to hurt really hard, because his emotions are so tied up in this, but he has to take on a different role. So is he going to leave that person there? Is he going to have to choose something else? And I like it. So this is where my character is. This is where my story is. And oddly, specifically, like this feels like where I am as well, which is kind of crazy. But what I love about using tarot is it's vague and it's specific at the same time. And you can interpret it in multiple ways. And what I appreciate about tarot is it's a reflection of me. It's a reflection of who I'm reading for. It's a reflection of where we are and what we actually think about some things that maybe we don't realize yet. So I had come up while I was very sick, laying in my bed, like some of my fever dreams. I saw my character and I was like, oh, he's helpless. Cool. And then I was unconscious again. And I knew that I wanted him to be helpless, and I knew that I wanted that to be a part of this novel. But trying to define that and trying to like apply that into like how is this gonna happen? And I have a good mind. I can problem solve. I can think through things. But sometimes just in the bustle of everyday life and my job and my dogs, or my dog and my cat, and like all of the other things that I'm dealing with, it's hard to just kind of hold on to my idea and just carry it out and know how it connects. And the moment that I'm like, oh, I have it, something happens, and I have to pivot. So I love that these visuals exist to kind of weave a story in my mind for me to write and actually go, oh, that's right. That is what I actually wanted to do. And that's how I'm thinking about my story. And this is how I'm going to carry it out. And this is my focus with my story. And I can just lay them out on my desk and they're just there until I'm ready to write and I have the space and the time and whatever I need to write. So, thank you for coming along on this bizarro adventure and for hearing me out. I think I'm probably gonna bring some more of that in because it is a huge part of my writing process. And again, I don't see people doing that. So yeah, like, subscribe, do all the things. And I don't own tarot. I don't own Erythriol. It's delicious. I will put his information down below so that you can check it out if you'd like to. But otherwise, I'll see you next time.